This is Shannon Foster-Boline
and Mrs. Caitlyn Blum, and we are
Fostering Blooms.
All right, we are wrapping up 2024. There's only a few days left while we're typing this. I know it's crazy. This year has gone slow and fast all at once.
Yeah, it has.
So we thought it would be a good idea to share some of our garden successes and sometimes even more importantly, I think our failures.
What we learned.
Again, my mission is to convince people that you don't have a black thumb. You're just normal like everybody else who kills plants. And
when people say, "Oh, I could kill a cactus," you know, like
you can
I have killed more cactuses than any other plant. Like I just love cactuses, but I give them too much love.
Right. Which is what happens a lot of times. We either overlove.
Like your dogs, you know, people have obese dogs. They just love them too hard.
Too much.
And sometimes we love our plants too hard.
I agree. Speaking of dogs, we have Xena with us. If you're watching us on video.
She's part of that Fostering Blooms team.
She is. Yeah. She's an important piece. So if you want to see Xena, go watch the video as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not normally this clean, you guys.
We look really
nice.
We look fresh. I mean, you see us in the garden, we're dirty.
I'm twinning Pigpen in the garden.
And I'm not kidding. Right. Like, I am really gross. Like, really gross and sweaty. So, right, okay. All right, we're going to start with successes. Why don't we go back and forth? I'll do one and then you can do one. Just to give you context, I moved into this house summer of 2022. It wasn't the first thing I did, but it was the second big thing I did, which is to put in 4 raised beds for my vegetable garden.
So you moved in the summer.
Yeah, June 1st.
And then when did the raised beds go in?
October 2022.
Okay.
So I planted in garlic and some fall crops. That was fall. So then this year we had an area where there was some hostas and these little trees that weren't doing well. And a storm came through, not a fire this time, just a storm, and blew over some trees.
No, I'm not going to live
You're never going to live that down. No. So basically, I got to go and expand that vegetable garden, which I call the potager, which is just a French word for kitchen garden, because you have both vegetables and flowers over there. I got that expansion done between May of 2024 and November.
Okay.
And that was huge. I've got some columns I put in, and we'll talk more about it, but that for me was a huge success.
We're going to do a tour.
Absolutely. So it's still new, but that expansion is great. And as we go into planning, which is what January is for, is planning, I'm really excited to see all the things I'm going to grow.
Every time I come over, it's like you've done something new.
I try because I think you don't realize, but just like even an hour here or there can make a really big difference.
It can. Yeah. It's like lunch break.
Right, exactly. It's a lunch break garden. So tell me your success.
Okay, I wrote them down and now I can't remember.
It's this, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay.
We have to help each other.
Oh, yes, we do. My climbing roses. So I got her when we moved into our new house, January of 2022. So the same year. So, you know. I know, it's crazy.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And by the way, we live like 6 minutes away from each other, which we also did not know.
Yeah.
I used to drive by her house and see her little donkeys out there, and I'd be like, oh, they're so cute. I want to write them a letter and tell them how much I love their animals. And then I show up at a party at her house, and I'm like, what is even happening?
You live here.
You live here. Crazy. It's crazy.
I know, we're so fortunate. We're so close.
We're going off topic.
I know we are. Sorry.
So the climbing roses.
Bathsheba, she's a little bit smaller one. This other climbing rose, I will figure out what type she is. She's a pink, really tall climbing rose. She doesn't have a lot of thorns. She's almost thornless, I'd say. So trimming her is really easy. Put her in summer of 2022. She did great. She grew, I don't even know, like I have her in the front along brick and the railings. I mean, from the ground to the railings is probably what, like 15 feet?
Oh, yeah. To the top of the railing, yeah.
So she grows up, and I've weaved her in between the railings.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I can't believe how much she's grown. And Bathsheba has done really well there, too. I really love climbing roses. And I feel like I've done
great.
Well, I have one in the back veg patch that I think she got overshadowed a little bit by some of the zinnias that were growing around her. So I have to kind of clean her up this year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome. I love it.
That was my big success.
I'm getting ready to do some climbing roses, so I will definitely make sure that I'm doing whatever you're doing, because
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know. It's magic.
It is magic.
It's rose magic. Okay. The second one for me is I put in a cut flower garden. So I have this space.
Talk about the solo shop.
Yes. Oh, I have this space where it's like a step down area and it's circular. And one of the first things I did the summer of 2023 is, and some people are going to be like, oh my God, but like I ripped out a ton of plants. And the reason is it was like forsythia and viburnum and a lot of things that were really overgrown, becoming invasive. It's all shrubs. The house is 22 years old and it's super modern. And the landscape architects came in and did very commercial style. It's just really just not what I wanted. Yeah, I tore it all out. With a goal in mind to make this rondelle is what I call this area. You'll learn I have names for my areas. So this rondelle, this circular area, to eventually be a formal rose garden with hornbeam. But I wanted to use the soil that was there because I've been solarizing it.
Was it good soil underneath?
No, it's horrible.
Oh dear.
I solarized it, and then in April I put in 7 4 feet wide, 10 to 12 feet long beds. So it's a lot of space. And
go back, solarizing, just people know what that is.
When you're killing the weeds by covering them, and you can do it with a variety of methods, which we can talk about.
Black plastic.
I use black
plastic.
plastic.
I'm sorry. Taking an opportunity.
No, I use the black plastic.
Tell me everything.
I use the black plastic. I know, and that might get an eye roll or two as well. But I reused it as much as I could, and it just was fastest way to do it and not use chemicals. So it's kind of sometimes you have to choose your poison.
I have black plastic that the old homeowners left and we're using on the garden beds, and I use it over and over and over.
Exactly.
It has some holes in it. I don't care, but it still works.
Basically, I'm not going to spray to kill, so I solarize. But getting that in, I did all the drip irrigation. I used landscape fabric, kind of like Floret does, to do a true cut flower garden where you're going in and you've got it supported. I had a huge success, I think, with the celosia. It was gorgeous.
The zinnias.
Yeah, sangria. I had the zinnias did really well. The dahlias I did. So, to me, the biggest thing was that I even got it in. Because it took like 6 weekends for me to get it in. To do, and I did it by myself, and it was a lot.
Garden warrior.
We got to go to the next one.
So maybe we could do 2 successes and 2 failures.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. So my next success, I would say, is seed collecting. I love collecting seeds. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Oh my God, you brought me over some Floret zinnias, and I actually collected the seeds from those.
So excited.
I dried them. I didn't even know, it's like these puppies.
The ones that
you brought in August.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know sometimes they need to be dead on the plant in order to collect the seeds, but we'll see. I
have to stop you because this is one of the things that I love that you do, and I want people to hear this, is you're experimenting. I feel like so many times with gardening, we treat it like a recipe because we want to do it right? We don't want to kill anything.
Do it perfect.
And you don't necessarily. And I love, this is just one example of her just being like, screw it. I'm going to save these and see if it works. Yeah. And you know what? If it does, awesome. You got all these free plants. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
That's something I want to be better about, is experimenting. So I love that you're bringing that.
Thank you. Well, yeah. And then too, when we met, I'm like, I have so many seeds. We need to collect these seeds. And you're like, oh my God, okay. But your celosia seeds, a lot of celosia seeds. We have a lot.
That's
of those.
Good.
Dill and calendula. I never say that right.
Calendula. It's
calendula. Okay. Any seeds that I could save, I did. My Floret zinnias, because that's the end of, her sales.
For a while.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyways, seed collecting.
That's
amazing. Really love it.
Good
and,
job. And she's going to do more of it. We're going to talk a lot about that this year.
It's so easy. It's a really easy thing to do.
It's kind of therapeutic when you're separating it out.
It is. It so is.
So let's talk about our failures.
Okay, go. Biggest failure.
Okay, I could have way more than 2 on here, but I'm going to go with the biggest one. So the trees were sick and they needed to go anyways. It was on the docket to do that, and then the storm just moved it up. But the hostas are gorgeous. I mean, these, you have to imagine 20-year-old hostas, huge, beautiful. It looked like a river. It was beautiful. I got some landscapers out here because there was no way I could do this in one day. If you're standing out looking at it to the right, under trees, where I moved them. And there was sun there already. I created like a wishbone of hostas in there. Okay. The point is that they had enough shade. And hostas can take some sun, actually. In the south, we're in zone 7B, so it can get a little rough. So you got to be careful. But I moved them, and I should have probably cut their leaves off because they were pretty big.
Are they like the big ones, like as big as your hand? Like those massive ones?
The hosta leaves were as big as my arm on some of them.
Oh my God.
And the clumps were probably like 3-4 feet wide, some of them. I mean, I broke a lot of them up, but
You
literally
divide
it
them,
filled
yeah.
the whole thing. So I divided some of them, some of them I moved whole. But I probably should have cut all the leaves off to let the roots grow better.
Okay.
But the biggest mistake was I didn't have any drip irrigation over there, and we had really bad drought. I was out there every morning at 6 a.m. for an entire month of June. But by the time that August hit, I couldn't do it.
done.
I was
You were
just like,
tapped
you know
out.
what? Like, you're going to make it. You're not going to make it. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I feel like, I know. And I feel like a lot of them probably did not make it.
How many did you lose?
I don't know. I'll
You
know
haven't
this
taken
spring.
stock yet.
I don't know. We'll know
You know
in the
what?
spring.
They might surprise you because hostas can be...
They're pretty tough.
Yeah,
I think
they
they're
are.
tough.
Yeah.
And also I'm planting other shade lovers in there. It's a tricky area, but yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
I'm excited to see that area grow. What
Me
you do
too.
with it because
Yeah.
you have a lot of potential and
Yeah.
you never know
It's
what
okay.
might come back.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. We
Yeah.
like
We'll figure it out.
we're just killing
It's
shit
just,
over
yeah.
here.
That's right, except for Xena. She's totally fine. Don't
Oh,
worry
no,
about her.
no,
She's
no,
good.
we don't
She's
do
good.
any of that.
Okay, give me a fail.
Weeds. And like, what gardener doesn't struggle with weeds?
Oh
They're
my
like
gosh.
the bane of my freaking existence. And this probably happens to a lot of people. Season starts out strong. You're out there in the morning getting them all those little babies.
it.
Yeah, weed free.
Yeah,
weed free.
got it.
No. Like July, or you go on vacation. You go on a vacation and you come back and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh mother.
Or it's 98 degrees and you're over
So
it.
we had such a hot, dry summer.
In June, we had 1.5 hours of rain in the entire month. And then in August, we might have had 2 or 3 hours.
It was so
super hot,
dry.
super-
I think what I learned from and I also have a 2-year-old, so the time for weeding is finite. What I've learned from that though is I have some sweet tools that you've introduced me to.
Yes.
My Japanese sickles. I'm gonna be getting those weeds.
Some stirrup hoe.
I got the
action.
stirrup hoe too. I got
Okay.
that for Christmas. I'm also going to be doing landscape fabric with burned holes. That's going to be one of our projects because Mama's got to combat these weeds somehow.
Yeah.
Because
It's a lot.
it gets discouraging. That's the thing
Right.
is I didn't want to be out in the garden because of
Just-
my damn weeds.
Yeah, and you just don't want to weed all the
No,
time.
I don't.
Okay.
So I'm going to figure it out. Your other failure.
My other failure, this is one of those like, I don't know how it happened per se, but in my courtyard area, I have a row of white iceberg roses and I have some salvias that are white in front of them. And 2 years in a row now, these 2 salvias just die. Just automatically die. Don't know why. Like, just completely die.
The first time you said, ignore this
Hole.
spot right here. I said,
Right.
I don't give a shit about that spot right there. Nobody notices, but it really bugs
Oh yeah,
you.
it bugs me because it creates like this whole long, almost like a hedge. So the roses also, one of them got a disease and I had to pull that out and they're not thriving and I need to do soil testing. So that area, it's a really beautiful area, but it's just kind of gone sideways and I don't know what's going on. I got to figure it out, but it's a little disappointing.
We're going to have an episode where we
Go do some diagnostics.
Yeah, it's going to be like a solve the
Yes.
plant mystery.
Soil-
Murder mystery.
Yes, I bought an actual really good soil. It's a murder mystery. It is a murder mystery. I just got that.
It's a plant murder mystery.
Oh my god. Well, I got a soil test, so we're gonna be like, you know, CSI out there, and it's a really good soil testing
Forensic
kit.
plant
That's
forensics.
exactly what we're doing. That's exactly who we are.
Okay, my last failure. Volunteers. What do I mean by that?
yeah.
Not the state of Tennessee, because
Go
we're in
Vols.
Tennessee. Go Vols.
Balls for life.
Volunteers. Volunteer plants. I used to just be like, oh, it's growing. Let's just let it grow. No, that is not a thing anymore. We need to be aggressive in the garden because things love reseeding themselves.
Yep, they do.
Like black-eyed Susan vines. Nobody plant those. Anyways.
Right.
I'm going to be aggressive this year. I let it just take over and it drowned out other plants that I put in and I just need to be more aggressive. But it's hard.
It's hard. I let that happen a little bit with my cosmos, and nobody thinks of cosmos as aggressive, and they aren't particularly, but it got a little
fluffy and
insane.
large,
They get
yeah.
huge. It was a little crazy. So, okay,
so
good one.
snip, snip.
All right. Oh boy.
Aggressive.
Okay. Yep. Gonna get it. Watch out. Stay away. Snip, snip.
I'm going to bring my hoary
Right.
in there. I'm going to whack out the volunteers.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us.
Want to hang out with your garden besties, Shannon and Caitlyn, some more? Then remember to like and subscribe to Fostering Blooms. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Fostering Blooms. See you in the next episode.